I debated whether or not to actually do this video today. The reason I did that is because there's a lot of tension out there today. There's a lot of people on both sides and all over the place who are very emotional right now, perhaps rightfully so. I'm doing this video though because always, no matter what's going on, especially when most needed, I will be there with you. And right now, I think that it's very important to share a few words with you all right now to make sure that we do have our bearings in this market right now. When things that are taking place outside, even if they're political, are affecting the markets, we need to be there to huddle together and to make sure that we have that clarity together to move forward. That's what I want to do with you right now. I'm going to ask you right now, let's not have any political talk in the comments today. I don't want any of it. That's not why we're here. What we are here to do is do our best to navigate over here and make sure that we stay on the right side of the market. Now, rightfully so, everyone should have a bit of caution in their step. Things could turn ugly quickly, and if that's so, there could be a large move to risk off. Outside of that being the Japanese yen, I'm not really sure what would constitute risk off today. I really don't believe it would be the dollar. You could see as things escalated throughout the day, the dollar actually has been selling off further, right? Gold is a little bit bid off the lows in the day. I put out an extra video today on gold. If you haven't seen that yet, do go ahead and watch that. It gave you some levels to look at. It gave you a lot of clarity, and that's something that I recommend. The reason I brought up gold here is because in times like this, sometimes gold could offer a safe haven bid. I want to just focus in on the Japanese yen really quick just to see. It's really not bid at all. Japanese yen is weak currently. So that means that the market is not really looking risk off. What the market is looking at, and you can see that by the equity markets, off their lows of the session today. NASDAQ barely, but also off its lows over here. That the market is looking at signal. We all know signal is the continued easing from the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve meeting minutes today were released today. There is speculation out there for investment banks. Do not listen to investment bankers ever. And they're talking about as soon as June, the Fed will be talking about tapering their purchases. I sincerely doubt that. You remember the last time in 2013, the Fed talked about taper, the market threw a taper tantrum. Do you remember when the Fed started hiking interest rates, how it caused this systematic shock that accumulated in March of 2020 with the dollar liquidity crisis? I don't think that they're going to be in such a rush to begin tapering or even starting that conversation. Markets right now are focused on what is signal. That's the Georgia going blue. That's the increased stimulus that we're going to be seeing. Chuck Schumer already is talking about $2,000 checks to all people being one of the priorities of the Senate. We'll see what happens. What I want to bring our attention to over here, though, is crypto. All right, before we do that, let me first talk about S&P 500. You can see it's broken above that resistance over here. That's entirely bullish. It came in and made a new all-time high, is off a little bit. I would be stepping away over here, as I said earlier this morning. Equities right now are just not attractive. I would be staying away. If we enter any type of correction, then we might be looking to step in. Will that correction be led by the NASDAQ? Just what's going on in front of my face right now, I could see over here, this trend line over here as we spiked above it. We failed to close above it. That's negative event, but we're neutral over here. We're very neutral above this 12,444 area of support. There's not much to say or do. Will this be offering a buying opportunity in the sessions ahead, perhaps on the NASDAQ, which is lagging right now? It might be. Russell, impressive 4% today. By the way, look at that. I just noticed that myself. Look at that test of that support, that resumption off. Obviously, that was not in play for myself or any of you. What I do want to focus in on here is Bitcoin right now. I think that everyone should be really just aware. All right, aware that things, if they do turn ugly, night is coming. Right? Night is coming. The mayor, I believe it's the mayor of DC, set a 6 p.m. curfew this evening. I also know that there are also bad actors out there. Look, I'm not trying to get political with you all. I'm not trying to say who's on the right side, who's on the wrong side, or anything like that. But there are people out there who, as night falls, might be setting fires, might be doing some things that just could escalate the tension and the situation. The markets could go risk off. I don't know how Bitcoin will react in risk off. So what could we do is we could look at our levels, right? Obviously here, right now, 36,000 printing new all-time highs, as bullish as can be. You can see what happened over here. If I come down to the 1 hour time frame over here, you can see all this volatility. Look over here. We had like a double top over here intraday. Market sold off. How big was that sell-off, by the way? I'm interested to know myself. That's a 4.25% drawdown on Bitcoin. Is that actually a little bit more? Yeah, that was a 4.25. That's nothing to sneeze at in Bitcoin these days. That's pretty big volatility over there. The market has since recovered though and is trading new all-time highs. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Throughout this bull market phase, one thing is clear: the risk remains to the upside. My worry is not being fully invested at any time during this bull market cycle, being left behind and then being forced to buy in back higher. That's not going to happen. At any point, I'm not exiting my position. Only on pullbacks will I be there to pick up. By the way, I've seen a lot of people like, oh yeah, I bought that 20% pullback. Really? Right? What did happen for minutes? Unless you had orders in, and do have orders in if you're looking to pick up pullbacks ahead of time, you're not going to be there. They've been quick, and we've talked about that throughout the year, how those pullbacks could actually be wicks. Here's a case of that happening. When last we were talking about that was going back all the way, just let me just make sure I'm on the same page as all of you. That was all the way back over here as Bitcoin was in this area over here. And I talked about the fact that we could trade down towards 9,000. And if that were to happen, that would be a quick wick, right? Look over here. This is a 3-day chart. The wicks are all over the place. Look at this big wick over there. My whole point is, if you are interested in buying the dip on Bitcoin, strategy number 2 in how to trade Bitcoin during the bull market phase, have your limit orders in there ahead of time. Strategy number 1 remains the best, sprinkled with strategy number 2 for sure, the best way to trade this bull market as it's unfolding. Here's an important level to watch out for, I believe over here. We saw earlier in the week, we had a fight for this level. It held. Trading below that would be an indication that we're going to see a further correction. By the way, how far away from market is that right now? I'm interested to know. I always want to know my bearings. That's a 16% pullback from where we are. We've seen 116.5% pullback this bull market and 320% pullbacks. All right. So whether or not we get to test 30,000 or not, that's a level that we want to see hold. If it didn't, that would be worrisome in the fact that that would lead up probably to a test of this trend line over here, that spike low. That would be a big deal. We're not there now. I always want to be aware of my downside risk and what we're watching out for. I think that everyone wants to be on their toes right now, and I'm just highlighting that. Ethereum, impressive. I want to focus in on Ethereum, Bitcoin. Okay, reason being is because we're fighting for this resistance right over here. Just let me zoom out really quick. This really started coming to our attention. Hold on one second. Let me just make sure you could see what I'm looking at and we could all be looking at the same thing together. We go ahead to the all-time high over here, right? And you can see this trend line that we drew in over here. We've talked about this recently over the past couple of weeks, so I know that you're all aware of it. And right now what we're looking at over here is that after the breakout of this trend line to the upside, this trend line coming in at this horizontal resistance, coming in at 0.39684. Let me zoom into real time and show it to you. This is where the battle's being fought over here. It's a big level. Get above it. That does open up the upside over here, and it opens up us next targeting up here at 0.39684. I called out the wrong level before. Right now, the battle's taking place over here at 0.033174. Okay, get above this, and you can see the battle taking place right here, right now. Get above that. That opens up further entries over here, and we could be then targeting a next leg up on Ethereum, Bitcoin. With that being said, Ethereum and both Bitcoin continue to obviously be as solid as can be. I want to pull up this chart over here that Oliver shared with me on Bitcoin. Right, we could see this lower trend line over here. This one we had been tracking, right? He added this one over here, up here, beautiful work over here, cloned it again, and you could see this touch over here to that last swing high that we just took out. You could see the next resistance off of this TA over here is coming in right now, right exactly where price is, more or less, right just above $36,000. Be aware of it, right? If we're able to burst through it, that opens up further upside. The trajectory of Bitcoin continues to be straight up, almost vertical. Nevertheless, that is what's happening. out there. Look, this is going to be a short update. What I really want to just grab you around, put both hands on my shoulder and just be like, listen, do not in this moment trade off of emotion. Take a step back. Being on the sidelines is a good place. Remain fully positioned on Bitcoin, right? We're seeing alt movements. Beautiful. Cardano we looked at this morning. Chainlink so far holding on to their gains. We're waiting for them to reset a little bit to consolidate before looking for re-entries on them. Don't get talked out of your position. Know your levels. Know what we're looking for over here. But watch out over there just in case things turn a little bit ugly. And that's it. We'll pick it up in the morning. We'll get a fresh look. This morning's live stream was absolute fire. We are fully in the flow. I'm not focusing on gold and silver right now. Only that's because you should have seen the update I presented on gold. If you didn't, it's the most recently uploaded video. Silver, nothing to do until we regain this resistance over here at 27.55 or a better pullback, a stronger pullback into the 26 support area. Right now, in no man's land, challenging this resistance over here. Both the precious metals obviously continue to look good over here. That's why I put out this update over here for you. Do watch that update just released on gold. The dollar price action is interesting. It was a little bit bid earlier in the today. It's giving that up. It's back now trading towards the lows. All right, everyone. I will see you in the morning. If you're still watching this, appreciate it. Go ahead and smash that like button just to show that you were here. Help me out. Help the channel out. Everyone, thank you. I'll talk to you later.